what makes certain books stand out in the marketplace and other books get left behind. So this might be something of a heart-wrenching question to talk about, but I know this is a community of authors with huge dreams, big goals, and many of us are in the writing process right now. So we want to know where to focus in order to get the success we want. So whether you want a publishing deal, if you're up for a prize and you want to win prizes and you want to know how to draw attention to your book, or maybe you're just trying to crack some bestsellers lists, or you might be in the writing process right now and you want to know where to focus in order to be able to achieve the success you're dreaming of. So I want to give 3 places to focus that are going to get you all these things you're hungry for, because otherwise our attention gets dispersed in different directions and we don't know what will really make the difference. So first thing that is going to help your book stand out in the market, stand out in comparison to all the other books, a core concept that is easy to communicate. Throughout the decades, throughout the centuries, throughout the millennia, the stories that get shared and that spread and last are the stories that have a really strong core concept that makes them very interesting and intriguing to people on the one hand, but they also spread through word of mouth. That has never changed. The main way to sell books is because people talk about them. And so a core concept, I want to go into 3 examples in fiction, memoir, and nonfiction self-help. So the core concept of the book, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, it's very easy to communicate. This is a woman who will live forever, but be forgotten by everyone. So the moment this protagonist gets out of anyone's sight, Addie LaRue, they forget about her forever. So she's doomed to live for an eternity and everybody forgets her. She has no relationships. She is completely alone. So this book stood out so much and started spreading because it's both intriguing, it has a wonderful central concept, and it's easy to talk about. Next up, let's talk about Cheryl Strayed's book, Wild. That book has now been selling for years and years, and it really stood out in the marketplace. Why? It's about a woman who's grieving a loss. She's grieving the death of her mother while hiking the Pacific Crest Trail, one step at a time, moving forward through grief and loss. This is a really inspiring, hope-filled book that's easy to talk about and easy to communicate. Another example, Atomic Habits. That's been just broken so many records by standing out in the market. Big changes happen from simple steps, simple shifts. So little tiny atomic habits lead to big change. It's easy to talk about. People talk about it and it stands out in the marketplace. So I am going to link below a free class with writing prompts, etc., to help you hone in on that core concept of your book. So that will help you move forward with that. Let's go on to the second trait that really helps books stand out in the marketplace. So we talked about how it's through word of mouth. So you have a core concept that's easy to communicate. The next thing you need to do is understand your ideal reader. So having someone who's easy, knowing who to communicate it with. So let's take Atomic Habits, for example. If we were talking about little shifts creating huge change in your life, if we talked about that to people who are not interested in making any change in their life, they aren't interested in personal growth or anything like that, it wouldn't take seed, it wouldn't spread, and it wouldn't stand out because we wouldn't understand that reader. If we were talking about a fantasy book to someone who never reads fantasy and only reads self-help, then that book would not stand out. So understanding your ideal reader, this is something that I've noticed people don't want to get into this. They feel like I'm at my desk, I'm by myself, I'm writing my book, don't talk to me about this. But if you understand who's reading your book, it's so much easier to connect and it's going to help you stand out to publishers. So how do we go about this? It might be, especially in fiction, just understanding genre expectations. So if you're writing a book, hopefully you love reading that book. Reflect for a moment on other books like it. What do the readers who love that genre, what are they like? What are they interested in? What are their expectations? And what do they want when they're reading it? With fiction, a lot of people want escape, want fantasy. They want to believe in love again. And if you can understand where they're coming from and why they're picking up your book, then you're going to know where to focus in tight and make that book stand out, make it a success. Finally, I have one more strategy that is such an important place to focus if you want your book to stand out in the market. So this is really, I've said it before and I'll say it again, it's just the persistence to keep believing in yourself. And so the thing that's made this more apparent to me than anything else is this series I've recently done on this YouTube channel. Subscribe. On this YouTube channel, I talk about authors who started out by self-publishing, later decided to get traditional publishing deals, and then later hit huge bestseller lists. Brené Brown, Stephen King are just a couple people who I've talked about who started out by self-publishing and then moved into traditional publishing. This shows incredible persistence. They were going after their dream, trying different avenues, even when they were receiving multiple rejections, etc. And, you know, I'd love to give you a new idea that you've never heard of before. But really, the reason I'm putting this as the third thing to focus on when you're going for your dreams is because it's just so obvious. It comes up again and again. And I'd be lying to you if I said anything different. So at the end of the day, those are the three main places to focus if you want your book to stand out in the market. The other thing about persistence is when you're persistent, you get better at the core concept of your book. You get better at understanding your audience, and then everything just snowballs and grows from there. So persistence, in a certain sense, is the thing that makes the other two work, because even if you don't hit the bullseye on the first time, if you don't get it right away, you keep going, you keep learning, and you keep growing, and then you become unstoppable. So if you want to go deeper into this topic, look below. I've linked a free class with writing prompts so you can go deeper and get a little bit more guidance. I also have, I love the Meaning Method, the book that I've written that has everything you need to move forward. But no matter what, take some time to go after your writing dreams this weekend. So much love. Talk soon.